Alright, so today we'll be installing this up pipe with an external wastegate on the side, along with this Grimspeed catted down pipe. So first off, what you'll need to do is take off the top mount intercooler. In this case, I've already taken mine off. But first you just start out by removing these two coolant lines, and then there's one more back here. Mine were really brittle, but so they'll crack. So in this case, I'll have to replace mine. But once you do that, there's a bolt right here that's attached to your bracket, and another bolt right here that attaches a top mount intercooler. And then just unscrew those, and you should be able to wiggle it out. So you want to wiggle it out of this pipe right here, and then you want to wiggle it sideways out of the turbo housing. So right there. Alright, so today I am fixing my turbo. My internal wastegate isn't working properly. There's my actuator line for my wastegate is rusted and bent, so the wastegate was shut closed. So instead of buying a new turbo, I'm converting to an external wastegate setup. So what you need to do is first start off by taking your top mount intercooler off. It's two bolts that hold in the intercooler itself, one right here and then one right here. So you unscrew that, and then you got your bypass valve here. It's two bolts that hold in these two that attach to the intercooler. So you want to unscrew those, and then you have some coolant lines, like one right here. I taped them off because I don't want anything getting inside them. But you have one right here and then two right here that you detach. Let me just get the old intercooler and then you can see So this is an old intercooler. It'd go like this. So this is your coolant lines. So yeah, right here there's one coolant line, and then one right here, and then another one right here. You just pull those off, unscrew the bypass valve, and then the two bolts right here. And then you want to start by wiggling it up and then right, so you get the so you can get the intercooler off. Once you get the intercooler off, then you can start working on detaching your downpipe. So it's 5 bolts that hold in the downpipe, or sorry, 4 bolts that hold in the downpipe. One right here, one right here, one right here, one right here. You unbolt those, and then you want to get under the car, and then there are 2 bolts that hold in the downpipe to the exhaust itself. So there are 2 bolts right there that you want to unscrew, and then you want to unscrew your O2 sensor there and unclip the O2 sensor. And then once you're done with that, then you can work on removing the up pipe. So the up pipe it's 5 bolts that hold in the up pipe, 4 bolts actually. So I installed a new one already, but it's 1 bolt right here, 1 bolt right here, and then back there you can kind of see it, 1 bolt back there, and then another bolt on the other side right there. You can kind of see it. Once you get that removed, you want to get under the car. So once you're under the car, you first want to start off by taking off your splash guard. Usually there's a black plastic splash guard. It's just like 3 bumper clips holding it to the front. So once you do that, this right here is your up pipe, and then this right here is your exhaust manifold, and then my other part of my exhaust manifold is right here. So it's one part, it's all one part, but I detached it because it just made it a bit easier to take it out. So once you do that, once you take off the splash guard, you can work on unbolting the up pipe from the exhaust manifold. For me, I couldn't just wiggle out the up pipe because there wasn't enough space for the up pipe. It's a really tight fit here, so there wasn't enough space for the up pipe to wiggle out of the engine bay. So I had to loosen two of my engine mounts. So I loosened this bolt right here, which is part of the engine mount, and then I loosened this bolt right here, which is another part of the engine mount. And then from there, I used a jack and a wooden beam to lift up the, to jack up the engine to give me a couple more inches to wiggle that up pipe out. But in order to take out the up pipe, you're gonna have to remove this exhaust manifold. So it's two bolts holding in the exhaust manifold. One right there and then one right there. That one's still out because I'm putting it back in. And then there is some heat shielding that you have to remove, but that's easy. It's just like, it's 2-3 bolts for the heat shielding. You can see the screws where they screw in. And then this is part of this is where the exhaust manifold, this part of the exhaust manifold meets with this part. I had to detach it because it just made it easier to, I guess, take everything apart. So when you're taking these apart, you also want to keep in mind, you want to watch your old gaskets, make sure they're in good condition, because over time they'll either wear out or crack. So usually there's a metal gasket that goes in between here and the other up pipe. So you want to make sure those are in good condition. If not, you want to get those replaced or order a replacement part. So yeah, you just unscrew these two bolts. It's another two bolts holding in this part. And then you should be able to just unscrew these 3 nuts that attach this part of the up pipe. You can kind of see it goes like, so yeah, this is how the up pipe would go. And then you can see it attaches there. So yeah, you just unscrew these 2 bolts, and then there are 3 nuts that hold in this part of the up pipe that you unbolt. And then this should just come off like that. So once you have your up pipe installed with the external wastegate, you should, now you want to take off your stock internal blow-off valve right here, or your stock internal wastegate, which in this case was here. So this would sit kind of like, it'd sit like that inside of it. So it's 2 bolts that hold in this internal blow-off valve, and then there's 1 vacuum line that leads from the nipple of the blow-off valve to the boost controller. So you just want to take that off with, honestly you can just do it with your hands, but so you just unscrew this, take it off. So yeah, you can see kind of the way that this would go. So this is my actuator arm that was broken. This was why my wastegate was stuck closed. You can see it's kind of rusted and it's really bent, so it wasn't opening the wastegate properly, so it was shut closed. So you can unbolt this, and then there's a small clip right there. You can see it, it's like a horseshoe clip right there. You take that off, and then once you have these 2 bolts off and the vacuum line off, you should be able to just pull this off with no problem. And then you want to get your new bracket. You want to get your, in my case, I got this Grimspeed universal bracket that holds this internal wastegate closed, so it won't open. So I have no vacuum line going towards the bracket, as you can see. So there's nothing leading to it. It's literally just a metal bracket that holds this shut. And once you install that, you want to get your boost controller. So you can't run an external wastegate without a boost controller. So in this case, I got a 3-port Grimspeed boost controller right here. So what I did was I took off the original one. So this is the original boost controller. This would go right behind your air intake, under this metal covering. So these were the vacuum lines you have to take out. So these 2 vacuum lines, this top one right here is the one that connects to your compressor valve and your turbo. So this one connects to that one right there. And then this one connected to the internal wastegate. So this one right here would connect to this one right here. So it would go in like that. And then this one would go into the compressor valve, and then this one right here, so it's three vacuum lines. This one right here would go to the turbo inlet. So I just took this one off, I pulled it out, and installed some new vacuum line that runs to the Grimspeed one. So once you have all that off, then take your new vacuum line. You want to route it. You want to route this correctly. So just make sure you have everything going to the right place. So I have one vacuum line going from my external wastegate, that one nipple right there. So I have one vacuum line going from the external wastegate to the bottom port of my boost control solenoid. So you can see this one from my wastegate leads to the bottom one, and then the one from my turbo inlet leads to the top port right there. And I haven't installed my middle one yet, but this middle one is gonna go to my to the compressor wheel and the turbo. So just make sure you route everything correctly. It can be easy to mix it up. So yeah, and then once you have that installed, also keep in mind you have to you might run out of vacuum line like I did. So I have to go to AutoZone and pick some more up, but sometimes Grimspeed doesn't supply you with enough vacuum line to run all these, to run an external wastegate. So I'll just go to AutoZone and pick some more up, but keep in mind you might have to pick some extra up. And then this Grimspeed boost controller just hooks up to this blue clip right here, that connected to the OEM one. And as for fitment, I just use the 2 OEM nuts to hold in the Grimspeed bracket, to hold in the Grimspeed boost controller, and it works pretty fine. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. But once you have all that installed, you want to reattach your downpipe. So again, it's just 4 bolts that hold in the downpipe, and then you want to get back under the car, make sure you reattach your O2 sensor, and then you want to attach those 2 bolts, those 2 screws right there that attach the downpipe to the back of the exhaust. And then once you have that installed, you can just reinstall your intercooler. In my case, I got another Grimspeed intercooler, so I'm going to be installing this one. And then I got an aftermarket Y pipe kit with it too, because this one right here, this was the original one, and you can see this one's all metal, and this one was cracked too, so I had to replace it anyways. So well, yeah, once you have all that installed, it's just you put on your intercooler, and then you should be all set. Make sure you do get a tune when you install all these bolt-on mods, because your stock ECU will not be able to run properly with all of these aftermarket mods, so make sure you go to a pro tuner and get it properly tuned. If you can't go to a tuner in the at your specific time, just make sure you get a base map sent out from your tuner that you can just plug and play with your car. That'll be better than just running your OEM ECU tune. So just make sure you do that, and your car should be running fine.